And that makes me wonder, does that work by the control points are maybe all like correspondence, all one point just split out over different places?
I mean, that'd make sense considering the nature of the oldest house.
Yep.
Sorry, ma'am. I took them. Darling asked for any visual materials to be stowed for future
Variants and
instruction.
alterations. His corruption manifests in vastly different ways. Some hosts remain largely unchanged, while others are barely recognizable as human. What determines this level of alteration? Is it the duration of corruption? It could simply be an evolutionary process, each entity representing a stage of growth in an undiscovered linear progression leading towards what? Additionally, his entities possess various paranatural abilities. How have they achieved this? Do they gain them from corrupting objects of power? Have they corrupted a single highly talented para-utilitarian and divided their access to paranatural abilities across a network of his corrupted hosts? As a scientist, I am hindered by the sheer number of questions. It's difficult to identify where one should begin. What is the most pertinent question? How do we kill it? That seems like a good start. Refer to file blank for full report. By Emily Pope. She's
That's
very
for anything
practical.
that looks particularly good in backdrop.
Jesse, good to see you. We've got Dylan situated in his containment cell like you asked. I've got medical staff running tests as we speak, and I'd be happy to walk you through the details later. Other than that, what's next?
With the slide projector turned off, the hiss are shut out, but we're stuck with the ones already here. We can't lift the lockdown until they're all eradicated. If any hiss ever got out, that would be the end of everything.
Well, eliminating them all will take time. Look, I'll do what I can on my end, but my research is progressing slower than I'd like.
I think I can help with that. I am making you the head of research, effective immediately.
This is a
I want you to
flashback.
use everything the Bureau has, every resource, every confidential scrap of data, and find a way to keep the hiss out for good.
That's... really? I mean, yes, I can certainly... Yes! Yes, I accept.
You'll do great. Besides, I didn't really have anyone else lined up.
I'm honored, Jesse, really. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
There haven't been any his sightings in the ocean.
Yeah, I found a file on the old director, Northmore. Didn't list any dated death. You know anything about that?
Could be an error. The record staff process a lot of data. Maybe it just slipped through.
Yeah, maybe. I heard you closed the Hiss portal, or whatever it is we're calling it. And if we could just flush out the stragglers.
Like
So,
the claw.
what's next for Simon
Yep.
Reich?
Well, first off, I'm banning all slide projectors. That's it. Seriously, though, we need to review our protocols. Research should not be making decisions that endanger the entire Bureau, fuck it, the entire fucking world, without some serious oversight.
I think Pope would agree. Certain people in the Bureau have been working in the shadows for too long.
And I'd like to make these HRAs part of the mandatory Bureau uniform. They're not stylish, but better safe than sorry.
I don't think anyone will complain. Not after this. What are your thoughts on me serving as director?
Well, I couldn't be more excited. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, Trench was fine, but well, you pulled us back from the brink, so...
And I'm well aware...
Well, I'm honored to serve, ma'am. I mean, fuck, shit. Phaeton. Sorry.
He'll get it one day.
I'm aware that I'm past my normal time, but I'm just clearing out some of these conversations. It'll be an extra long video.
So, what's the situation in my Bureau, Arish?
The situation is we are still up to our eyes in Hiss. Not to mention the months of repairs it's gonna take just to get this place up and running again.
But is it doable?
Of course it is. You just might need to tell some rangers to grab a wrench once they're done hunting Hiss.
Did anyone ever mention to you that Darling was using the slide projector?
Well, Salvador never did, but I doubt he even knew. Look, I'm well aware that it's our job to study and contain the things that we don't understand, but some of the things that Darling did were way outside of our mission statement. Look, these things are not toys, and acting like they are is only ever gonna end one way. At least Pope seems to understand that.
Well, it's secure now. No one can reach it without my say-so.
But thank Christ for that.
Marshall's been missing for a while now. Any ideas where she could be?
The last time I saw her was in maintenance when I was leading the Rangers out of the Atlas. Yeah, I told her it wasn't safe, but she said she had to go check on something.
Did you ask where she was going?
Whew. Marshall is not the kind of person you question. Kind of intimidating, you know? But, she was by herself, if that helps at all.
Not really, but thanks. Hopefully she turns up.
Yep, definitely
I'll see you later.
You know where I'll be.
what do you call it? A flashback. And I think there are probably discussion topics on Emily we could have asked.
Remove my waveform of the hiss recording.
Sorry, ma'am. I took them.
Do you remember Mr. Tomasi, the head of communications? The hiss he was changed into showed up in containment, near the turntable.
I'll take care of it. That thing's not getting away this time.
I've heard reports about his particular use of language and intonation when repeating the hiss babbling. The biological and behavioral distinctions between different hiss-corrupted individuals is truly fascinating. I wonder if I could categorize the data.
And she's already off on her own thing. How do you feel about me taking over as director?
You act like it just happened. You've been director since we first met, remember? I am still thrilled. Nothing's changed. Not for me. But the Bureau has changed. Trench and Darling are gone. Their knowledge, anything not written down, disappeared with them. They knew the Bureau better than anyone.
They're the Bureau's past, Emily. We won't operate like they did. We'll learn from their mistakes. We'll be better than they ever were. We won't ever be like them. When the hiss got into my head, I saw some weird things. I think Darling even spoke to me. Does that make any sense to you?
Empirically, no, but phantom voices as well as hallucinatory states are not uncommon here. And considering the forces that Dr. Darling was working with, he could have been transferred to a different plane of consciousness, physically or otherwise.
And that doesn't upset you?
Oh, very. The fact that he hid those forces from me, it's infuriating. But Darling's dream was always to look beyond our reality. This time he may have taken a step too far, but as long as his consciousness can perceive his surroundings, I'm sure he's loving it.
Maybe Darling was just trying to protect you from the darker side of his work.
Fuck that. I'm not a child. Like, don't just assume I'm going to consider something morally repugnant.
Which it all was.
Which it all was, of course.
Dear.
Oh, I love Emily. Oh, God.
How was Dylan?
The same. I can't detect any his activity, but his physiology has certainly been altered by it. And I can't tell if his brain activity is genuine or simply the aftermath of the hiss, like spasms. Dylan could wake up tomorrow for all I know. I really can't say.
Then I just have to wait for him. That's fair. He waited a long time for me.
But don't worry. We'll be monitoring him round the clock. If he wakes up, we'll be ready. I don't mean that in a hostile way, just... well, you know.
I hear you. My brother isn't exactly popular around here. I hope one day he'll have the chance to change that.
Oh, wow, this is getting close to 40 minutes.
So, there was a moment after Hedron died that I couldn't feel my powers. The hiss got into my head. Just for a moment.
So that explains the HRA outage. Before we knew what was happening, the hiss had us. They were in my head. I saw terrible things. I mean, I was about to go under forever when the hiss was pushed back. The HRAs had come back on. Dylan vanished afterwards, and we fought off the hiss that came after him. So if Hedron's death knocked out the HRAs, that means there must be a new local source for them to relay, which I'm guessing must be...
Me.
you. Hedron is dead, assuming that word even applies to a resonant-based life form. But whatever it awakened in you, the power you call Polaris, is still active. Or at least, that's what my instruments are telling me.
I don't think we're ever gonna understand all of this. And I'm okay with that. I'm just glad you're here with me. That's good to know. Thanks, Emily. I found Dylan attacking the astral plane and the board. What was he hoping to accomplish?
Huh. Since they arrived, Hiss have been corrupting objects of power, which have an inherent link to the astral plane. Maybe their goal was to access the astral plane, and the board itself.
That still doesn't tell us why.
His motives are a difficult thing to work out, but I have been digging through confidential files and noticed a strange gap in knowledge regarding the board. Looks like any data on them has either been deleted or was never gathered in the first place.
Then maybe it's time someone looked into that.
Maybe it is.
Well,
Okay.
I've got a bureau to run. See you soon.
Yes, ma'am, Director Faden.
I think that'll
Please,
be...
Emily. Not even as a joke.
Okay.
Where are the files on parasitic entities?
I found a couple of
All right.
Yeah. Very cool. And this is 41 minutes. Extra long video, which I might break off all the conversation bits at the end. Just to have their own video. Have it as an extra.
Makes sense.
Yep. Okay. So, I think that'll do for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to you later.
Later.